Just before we start, I'm just letting you guys know that me and my friend Dan have started our own podcast. Go over to the DRUNKARDS podcast on YouTube or SoundCloud to listen to our first 4 episodes, with new episodes releasing every Sunday at 12 PM GMT. Thanks everyone and enjoy the video.
Am I talking to the Desert Rangers? This is... Some call me the Patriarch. You might know me. But if you don't, I'm the man who owns Colorado.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kieran and welcome to another fine episode of Upcoming RPG, and today we're going to go back and explore a new entry into the franchise that came before Fallout, Wasteland. So just to give you a brief history lesson, to everyone who doesn't know what Wasteland is and why it is so important to the RPG series, Wasteland is a post-apocalyptic open world RPG that was released back in 1988 by Interplay. And if that name is ringing any bells, well that's because Interplay was the original developers of the Fallout series, with the first Fallout game being described as like the spiritual successor to Wasteland. The Wasteland IP took a step back after this and wasn't really seen or heard of again until like 2003 when XL Entertainment acquired the rights to the IP. And XL was made of developers that actually worked on the original Wasteland, and they intended on working on the next game, that being Wasteland 2. Which, after a Kickstarter campaign, released in 2014, then a year later on consoles. Now we're in 2019 and we're fast approaching the release date of Wasteland 3 and XL's latest entry into the series, so let's dive right into it, starting with our usual starting point, the story. Wasteland 3 follows the sole survivor of Team November, a ranger squad that was dispatched to the icy Colorado wasteland. So for some background information, the Desert Rangers, which Team November were a part of, are like the main faction of the series. The faction's goal is to help fellow survivors of the nuclear war to rebuild and help them towards a better future. The fun part of the story here is that no one in the Colorado wasteland has even heard of the Desert Rangers, so the player will enter this new location and has to build their reputation from scratch. We don't know how this story will go, but we do know that there will be a ton of choice and consequence in this game. The player will have to choose between warring factions, deciding whether locations are destroyed or saved, which I'm guessing means whether or not other survivors will actually inhabit these locations. And XL promises that these decisions will have a large impact on the world around you, and I hope it does, because I do long for a game where there will be big consequences to my actions, because I feel like in modern RPGs that doesn't really happen, or at least not as much. And that is pretty much it for the story. We don't really have many story details on this game to dig through, so let's dive right into the gameplay. Biggest part of any RPG is of course the role-playing mechanics. I do say this every time, I say this in every video and I'm like, yes, the role-playing mechanics, they should be a given, they should be a oh fuck, I smacked my arm off my monitor there. But many modern RPGs don't really embrace the role-playing mechanics as much as they really should. But yeah, these role-playing mechanics should let the player truly become the character they want to be. These mechanics, I can safely say, will be found within the world of Wasteland 3, as NXL brings back and introduces new gameplay systems for the game. One of the key features that is being brought back to Wasteland 3 is the party system. This system allows the player to have multiple characters in your party that will follow the player character around and help out during fights. Since you play as the sole survivor of Team November, I can imagine you going out to these towns initially by yourself and just helping out, but as your reputation grows, so does your party. This also does kind of sound like a Mount and Blade warband, but obviously in XL aren't going to let you roam around with a group of like 100 soldiers, maybe 500 soldiers, to like storm enemy bases that might have like, what, 15 people in it? It's the apocalypse, it's not an amusement park. Now what excites me is the fact that Wasteland 3 will feature co-op multiplayer, which will act like the main game with all the same features and everything, and this is quite cool. This is what I wanted Fallout to do, but you know, they wanted to go ahead and make a Fallout 76. I'm very curious on how they will actually implement this, and if we have to like vote on certain choices, like in like Red Dead Online, or in fuck, what's it called? I actually can't remember what it's called, but it's like Until Dawn's developers like detective game that you can only get on PlayStation. It's like a weird thing that you can play with your phone. And basically it's like you sit there, and every time like a choice comes up, you and your friends have to vote on what choice you want to pick, and whatever gets most votes, that's what happens in the story. But of course that's not actually going to be the case here. It's probably going to be like, oh yeah, the host of the game will be the main character still, and they will have the ultimate decision. I also wonder if the player will have like a Borderlands drop-in, drop-out kind of system where the player can join and leave anytime you want, and it won't affect the world around you. Maybe like enemy player levels will decrease or increase depending on like if you do have that co-op partner in the game. We do know that each player will have their own ranger squad, so it won't be a case of like a friend controlling an NPC in your squad. And Exile also built the game with multiplayer in mind from early stages, so players can do every mission, even the main story ones, with a friend or by themselves offline if they choose to. So this game isn't an always online thing. If you're a single player man, if you want to play single player, you don't want anything to do with the co-op or multiplayer, you can do that. Play the game offline, do single player, that's it, you're good to go. Unlike multiple of Wasteland's spiritual successors, Wasteland 3 will feature a deep dialogue tree that the player will use to talk to wonderful characters of the Colorado Wastes. The story of 3 is being written by the writers of Torment, Tides of... what was that? What the fuck does that say? Numnera? Which I hear is actually pretty good. I haven't really played it myself, but it got okay reviews. I googled it and looked at Steam reviews and stuff like that, and people seem to enjoy it. So, yeah. I trust it. Fuck it. Also, yes, if you can't tell by the gameplay already, Wasteland 3 will feature a semi-overhead view, which I'll be honest, I don't really get into those types of games that much. Like, obviously, on a few occasions, I do really, like, it's one of those love or hate kind of things for me, where it's like, there's some games where I'm just like, I really don't like this. I really don't like... there's never like a perfect middle ground for me when it comes to those type of games. It's either I just don't like it or I fucking love it. You know, it's one of those things. There's never like a game with that type of viewpoint where I'm just like, yeah, it's okay. But since this game does look really good and really interests me, and it is grabbing me, to be honest. Like, just the reading about it and all that, it is really grabbing me, so this overhead view will not matter to me whatsoever. But if you are a kind of gamer that are hoping for like a first-person action RPG like The Outer Worlds and Fallout, then Wasteland 3 is definitely not going to be your thing. Maybe it will be your thing. Maybe you surprise yourself and you pick this game up and be like, okay, I fucking love this, it doesn't matter about the view. But if the view is turning you off, then, you know, read more about it, watch more about it, and if it still doesn't grab you, then, you know, fair enough. This game also adds fucking vehicles, which sounds brilliant. I like... Oh man, it gets me so excited reading that as well, because I've always wanted, like, Fallout to eventually add in vehicles like a Mad Max style car thing. And it would just be, I don't understand why they haven't done it. Like, why haven't the people of the Wasteland figured out, it's like, let's make vehicles, because walking across the United States of fucking America on barefoot, it's quite tiring. And yes, we do have helicopters, maybe we can reverse engineer things. I'm sure there's a smart man out there that probably knows how to. Why not just, you know, reverse engineer stuff and make new vehicles, you know? Even like coaches or something. Although I don't think there's any gameplay of the vehicle action just yet. Maybe I'm wrong, there probably is something out there and I just haven't really seen it. But I do hope we get some soon, as we are in 2019 now, which is when the game is said to be coming out. For those of you wondering about the combat, Wasteland 3 will have a turn-based combat system that improves upon Wasteland 2's. Again, if you haven't played the previous game, Wasteland's usual combat system is much like other RPGs that are in the same category as it. The combat uses AP or action points, which is used up every turn by different characters in the player's party. Various moves require different actions, such as like the way you fire your weapon or what kind of weapon you're going to be using. Movement also costs action points as well, I believe, but this could change in 3, as I'm basing most of this information off Wasteland 2. Again, I've never really played turn-based games. It's one of those things where I just wasn't really interested in. It's not like I just don't like them or anything, it's just that there's never been a game that has it that I've really been that interested in. Like, I've played, like, right now I'm actually currently playing Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle that has that turn-based sort of thing, and I never really... when I first seen it, I'm like, oh, that's a cool thing, that definitely has a fan base out there. And when I picked it up for like 15 quid on the Nintendo store, I'm like, fucking hell, this game's good, I like it. The turn-based combat, I actually genuinely like the turn-based combat in that game, it's really nice. And obviously, like in older Fallouts and its spiritual successors like Atom RPG, I quite enjoy the turn-based combat in that. It's good, it's just good. But some games are just like, I don't really like it that much. The classic Ranger base will also make a return in this game as well, and will act slightly different. The Ranger base will be an ever-evolving thing as the player earns more reputation and completes quests. And Exile promises that the base will change as the story progresses and will also not be a place where the player will have to like micromanage and run themselves. I can imagine as this location grows and more NPCs join, the more side quests open up and will become available in the base as well. I have to admit, this game does excite me. In reading their Fig page, which is like this weird website where you can fund the game, and I actually never heard of it before. Typically everyone uses like GoFundMe or like a fucking Kickstarter or something like that. But yeah, anyway, this after reading that, the game it gets me more hyped for this game. And hype is a strong word, very strong word. Like, you have excitement, then you have pure and utter hype. And I do have hype for Wasteland 3. I was also never really interested in previous Wasteland games. Like, although Wasteland 2 has grabbed my eye a few times when looking for like new Switch games to play, it never really just, I don't know, I think it was just the look of it. It was like, looks okay, I suppose. But I do have to say that Wasteland 3 does grab me, and I think that this new world that we'll be playing in this time around looks fantastic. I love post-apocalyptic games, but it is tiring to see the same old desert wasteland or like Mother Nature taking over with trees and shit like that everywhere. You know, it's like, it gets a wee bit like, okay, same old, but when you have like a frozen day after fucking tomorrow kind of thing going on where like everything is frozen over, very icy, very creepy kind of thing. The roleplay mechanics also seem deeper in this game as well, so I hope when I drop into this in 2019 that I don't need to play the older games to understand what's actually happening here. Obviously, like, I'll go back and like hopefully they have like a catch-up videos like, oh yeah, this is what happened in Wasteland 1 and Wasteland 2, because every time I drop into a new franchise that has previous older games, I don't really want to go back and play every single one of them, so I will like watch a catch-up video on YouTube. That's what I did with God of War, and God of War 2018 has become one of my favourite games of all time. But yeah, I'll watch a catch-up video if it is needed here as well. Anyway guys, that is me. Are you interested in Wasteland 3? Let me know down in the comments below, because I love reading your thoughts on these games. And if you have an RPG or survival horror game that you want me to talk about, please leave that down in the comments below as well, because I love discovering new games. Also, big thanks to my Patreons, Simon609, Devil and Proxy1, for helping me get by and keeping this channel going. Thank you guys so much, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Anyway guys, yeah, thank you for watching, and I shall see you later. Bye bye.